I can't believe Guitar Center revived this model, and let's just say, I'm really happy about it. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Alright, so what model is this? It's just a regular Gibson SG Standard 61. These have been available in the current configuration ever since the relaunch of the company in 2019. However, we do need to get caught up on all the different colors that are offered nowadays to realize why I'm excited and what model these new finishes that are exclusive to Guitar Center are slightly mirroring. The base color is cherry, that nice classic red hue, and that one's offered in the stop bar variety, as well as the option for a $500 premium, the Maestro Vibrola or the Sideways Vibrola. But if you're not into those, the custom color series introduced things like the Pelham Blue Burst, Silver Mist, TV Yellow, a Jet Black Ebony, as well as a classic white finish, playing off of some of the SG customs there. But my all-time favorite of the custom color series had to have been the translucent teal. That thing was gorgeous when we reviewed it. There was also the introduction of the faded version. If you wanted the Maestro Vibrola but not wanted to pay quite as much as $2,500, those ones were available for about $2,200. And then recently they came out with a faded version with underwound 57 classics without the Vibrola. So with all those colors we just talked about, yeah, there are so many options. But Guitar Center sponsored tonight's episode to let you know about the 3 that they have exclusive to their stores only. The first is a Tobacco Sunburst Perimeter. It's cool. We haven't seen that offered recently, but it's the next 2 I'm most excited about. Sunshine, which is a really faded yellow color. It really just looks like a sun-bleached mahogany. It's so refreshing to see that, as well as the one we're documenting tonight. It's called Blue Sky. Now, where have we heard those 2 finish names from before? The 2018 custom shop Bohemian SGs. So basically, Guitar Center has revived these within Gibson USA, because the Bohemians, you can check out this episode if you want to learn all about them. I collect those guitars because I love the unique colors. But those ones were offered in Spice, Sunshine, Mink, Sage, as well as Blue Sky. So Spice, you could say that one's kind of covered by the regular cherry. It's not exactly the same, but close enough. Sunshine, that's the exact same name that they're using on Guitar Center's new version. Same thing is true on the Blue Sky, and you could say the Sage is similar to the translucent teal that's offered in the regular lineup. So far, we just don't really have a direct replacement for Mink. So, hey, Guitar Center, if you're looking for another color to add to this and you want to make some people happy, consider some sort of a swampy greenish brown. Now, to be fair, the hues that they used on the Bohemian series are a little bit different, but I'd say it's close enough. So first impressions here, it's gorgeous. It's a nice blue SG. It's not too dark, not too light. It's like somewhere right in between, because sometimes blue can be so dark it just looks black. I do notice our pickup covers. This happens on new Gibsons a lot. It first started maybe a year and a half ago, where if you trap it in its case, the pickup covers will haze over like this. I know I was first told it was Gibson switched to a new polish for that stuff, and it's like a reaction effect, but it seems to have continued on. So keep that in mind. We should be able to clean that off, or you can just leave it if you like the aged look. But otherwise, as far as the specs go, it's the exact same as all the standard production ones. So we will dive into all those nitty-gritty details over on the Workbench. But besides just the guitar at that price, you do indeed get a hard shell case, unlike on the regular SG Standard. And hey, wait a minute, hold the phone. Did they redesign the case? Does that compartment not look obnoxiously larger than usual? Yeah, I think they did. Looks like these ones are being made in Costa Rica. And as far as the stock case candy, it's the version that has the case keys, polishing rag. You've got your instrument safety manual, as well as your multi-tool for setups. Get a basic strap, silica packet to keep the moisture away, use the Gibson app, as well as warranty information and our pre-pack checklist. But now it's time to learn more. Let's go ahead and throw this onto the Workbench to take an individual look at its parts and specs. And while I'm taking it apart, Guitar Center wanted to let you guys know it's Electric Guitar Month through the 6th. What that means for you is you can utilize my affiliate links to take you direct to that page where you can find deals on anything electric guitar related. Even amps and basses, it's up to 25% off. Utilizing my affiliate link is what helps make these Guitar Center exclusive reviews keep happening. And so far, you guys seem to really love this series, and I've been having a blast documenting them. And now let's check out our results. It's actually kind of interesting how this played out. So sometimes it's like the neck pickup. You can completely clean and polish it off and it's just like your regular humbucker. Other times it's like our bridge pickup, where sure, this is nice and shiny now, it's not that noticeable, but if you look closely, you can still see some of that hazing to that. And I do want to point out that I did a double clean on this. What I normally suggest for pickup covers is the Virtuoso Premium Polish, and I do not suggest Scratch X, unless it's chrome or nickel, and even then be careful, but this is utilizing Scratch X, just trying to be a little bit more aggressive to get that hazing off, but no, it is just permanently on that one. So something to keep in mind. That's kind of funny though, because the Bohemian SG actually came stock with VOS treatment to the pickups and hardware and tuners. So it is on brand. But as far as the backside, these are the 60s burst buckers known as the Rhythm and Lead 61 set. I get readings of 7.92 k ohms in the bridge pickup, 7.9 in the neck, and they play together at 395. And it's just your regular 2 volumes, 2 tones, 1 for each pickup. No fancy push pulls or push pushes, anything like that. Just regular wiring, which you can doubly verify because we only have 2 conductor leads on these pickups. Now let's take a look at our neck pickup cavity. You guys tell me, do you think that's a BA? Or it's probably BK for Burger King, but it actually stands for Blue Sky. And it's probably because S stands for something else, so sometimes they'll use the next or even the last letter. So I would guess that's BK. Whereas our bridge pickup cavity is just marked SG61G. I'd imagine 61SG, that might be G for Guitar Center exclusive. But as far as the cleanliness of the routes, yeah, they could be just a little bit better. I'd say the bridge pickup cavity was a little bit nicerly done. But what we're seeing here is our long neck tenon. And if you're curious, hey, what's this weird blue stripe? When they inlay the truss rod in the neck, they have to cap that off, and they do that with a small block of maple. And maple is a lighter colored wood, so when you put blue over it, it becomes very apparent. And normally that's covered over by this piece of plastic that they call the tenon cover, because that's the next tenon right there. However, this is one of those guitars where, I don't know, kind of tempting just to leave it off. I would like to just see a neck through SG that has that little maple stripe here, because it would look great in that blue finish. And here's what it's like if you just completely remove the pick guard. The blue finish is dark enough, you can kind of get away with having the exposed screw holes. But just in case you are thinking about being a madman, just know the pick guard from sitting on top of the finish has dulled it over in some areas in direct contact with it. But you might be able to buff those up with a wheel. But here's a look at the pick guard itself. So if you're at Guitar Center trying one of these and you're like, oh no, the pick guard's all scratched up, this one came with protective film over it, so it is possible to remove, but just look, see if you have that film or not. But now we can move on to our bridge and tailpiece. Nothing out of the ordinary here. It is a real Gibson ABR1. However, being a Gibson USA product, they still mount it utilizing Nashville-style studs in the body, unlike the custom shop ones. But Gibson USA has the hex key adjustment wheels. The bridge is full weight, but the tailpiece is lightweight aluminum, done up by API. But in this lighting, we can see through to the wood grain. I'm not going to say this is the craziest example I've ever seen, but remember, sometimes you can find mahogany bodies that has a little bit of figuring within the mahogany's wood. I really like this area. It's got a little bit of ringiness to it, but it appears to be a 2-piece body, not overly apparent, because remember, the finish isn't quite as bright as this is looking. We've got some direct lighting on here, but that helps you appreciate the guitar in video format. This is probably a little bit more accurate to how it appears in the flesh. But hear me out. Consider swapping this over to cream plastics. I think that would play off the blue just as well as the ebony. But moving on from our mahogany body, we've got a mahogany neck with a rosewood fretboard. And I really like the particular board on our review piece. Nice and streaky and even in color. Just nice light red and brown tones throughout. Now, I did go ahead and condition this fretboard, so if you're like, hey, this looks way better than when you first unboxed it, that's why. I personally just used the Dunlop 65. I know that's available at Guitar Center, so you can purchase that. Because it's not just guitars that you can use my affiliate links on, you know, strings, conditioning products. I don't think they sell what I use for cleaning, but I know they've got other pump polishes, neck rests, setup tools, etc. But I get a nut measurement of about 1.7 inches, increasing to 2.1 at the 12th, 0.82 first fret neck depth, and 0.93 at the 12th. Certainly on the slimmer C side of things. However, you know, it does beef and round up just a tad in the soloing registers. Here's a look at that neck profile at the 1st fret and the 12th fret. fret. Helps you visualize that C shape and just how slim it is on the back. Like, it's not super full C, it's definitely on the slimmer edge, but not with a completely flat back. And as far as really discerning light, how is the fretboard tooling marks? On this particular example, I would say it's one of the finest levels of having minimal to no marks. Now, does that mean that there's none? No, but they don't immediately stand out as sometimes they do. But we've got the acrylic trapezoid inlays on this. And then moving on to our headstock, nothing too out of the ordinary up here. Just our mother of pearl Gibson logo with the matching crown. And here we can see the actual color of the mahogany neck, as well as our truss rod. And the cover of this one is black with a white back, and it is plain, no SG branding like on the standards. And we've got the full-size Kluson tuners. And now flipping on over to the backside, we can look at our controls, which in this case we just have Gibson branded pots with orange drop capacitors attached to our tones, and our regular L-style toggle switch with our output jack located on the front. And we can see down to the bare mahogany wood too. On this particular guitar, it's a little easier to see that center seam line on the back wood grain versus the top. But otherwise, we just have our regular carves to the sides of the SG. This thing's just so reflective, I can't even show it to you. But here's what it looks like from the side profile shot. More contoured up here, and then a bit blockier towards the bottom, just in case you're thinking about your very first SG. But the side that you do play actually has the contouring pretty much all along its edge. You just don't have that on the control side. Man, if you're buying your first SG, you've just got so many color options. Although most people just go boring cherry or black because that's what was available at the time when these things became super iconic. As far as nitpicky QC though, this looks like something's just on the finish, but no, that is actually a mild contamination within the finish. And I'm also seeing right up here, the spot where it's hard to buff, they went through the finish and have exposed the natural mahogany right there. Looks like we have a very, very, very extra tiny version of that on the other side too. Otherwise, I don't see any other markings like that. But moving up the back side of our neck, you can see the finish gets a little bit lighter right here. Remember what we were talking about with the maple skunk stripe for the truss rod? The same thing can happen if there's variances in the color of the mahogany wood. Like for example, sometimes you'll have like a really dark colored body and a lighter colored neck. There can be color differences there. So just in case you're shopping for one or you get one that's like that, it is normal. It's not a finish defect necessarily. For example, right up here on the headstock's a good spot for that. You can see the neck main piece is so much darker than the lighter colored mahogany wings. That's why you have two different hues going on there. So occasionally you can find that between neck and body as well. But our serial number dates it to 2025, 140th day of the year, initial batch production number 111, made in USA. And here's our Gibson Deluxe Kluson tuners. They're my favorite looking ones. But all said and done, this one weighs 5 pounds, 14.6 ounces. 6 pounds is pretty light for an SG. It feels like it's right on that brink of, is it gonna neck dive or not? So we'll find that out next as we go and plug it in and hear how these 60s burst buckers sound. The answer? Yeah, it's a little bit neck divey. However, get a nice gripping strap. You can also attach some weights. I thought playing down and sitting with this was actually really comfortable. But let's go ahead and grab these tones. I'd say those are some pretty bright humbuckers. But that works great for that neck pickup. But I'm expecting greatness out of that bridge humbucker once you start to distort it. Well, there we go. What are my final thoughts on this thing? I had a lot of fun playing it. It's so nice and lightweight. You can position it in any way you really want. And with a guitar called Blue Sky, you can't not play Mr. Blue Sky, or at least a rough rendition of it.
So, in my opinion, yeah, 61 SG standards, they're a lot of fun. Personally, I like the regular SG standards just a little bit better because I like the whole bat wing guard thing, and those have slightly chunkier necks. So if you were thinking this whole episode, man, I wish that had just a slightly chunkier neck on it, you would like the regular SG standards. But as of right now, this is the only way you can get the blue sky finish in the higher end offering. But alright, Troglodytes, I hope this episode helped you make an informed decision whether one of these was right for you or not. And again, please utilize my Guitar Center affiliate links found in the description if you decide that you do want one of these. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in today, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.